I have therapy in an hour and I woke up like 30 minutes ago. I'm feeling a little good today because the sun is out and it's warm, feels like summer. This is my dog Nala. I have another one, Coco, but she like has zoomies right now, so I don't even know where she is. Oh my gosh, look at my, it's growing. Oh, that's not supposed to be. There's like roots now. I don't know if you can see the roots that are coming out. Yeah, ignore my room because it's really messy right now. I can't function like this. Oh, here we go. This is Coco. You're so cute. I don't know why that took so long for me just to make my bed. I don't usually make my bed though in the morning, just putting that out there. I only did it because I had to wash my sheets. Plus I had to do it with these two freaking dogs on my bed. I had to do it around them. I don't know, some people like to make their bed every day in the morning, and that's fine if that helps them feel like they get their day started. For me, I need the blinds to be open and for my room to be somewhat clean, because if my room isn't clean, then I don't feel clean. So now I feel like I have a little more order in my room. We can to therapy. Honestly, I think productivity looks different for everyone. For me, as long as I'm like started my day, even if that means my day started at 2 p.m., which is usually the case, I just make it like at least a habit of getting out of bed and Nala, stop! I was saying, at least make it a habit to get out of bed eventually. I think I'm still being productive even if I'm just laying in bed on my phone one morning or before I go to bed, because if I only have or wake up with like 30% energy that day, I'm still showing up with 100% of that 30%. Does that make sense? I try not to make it a big deal if I don't get out of bed right away, but on days like this, I like to take my morning slow, especially if I have work later. Another thing I've been thinking about a lot, since it's May, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. If you're following my Instagram, you'll see that I repost on my story a lot of the mental health accounts posts that I see, and there was one that I reposted yesterday that I really liked. It was things that you can do to, I guess, contribute to spreading mental health awareness in your community or around your friends. One of the ones that I saw was finding yourself a therapist, and I think that's very important, especially if you have your own internal issues that are being reflected and projected onto your relationships. For example, like, I snap at my parents sometimes and they don't deserve it. But even before I was in therapy, I got mad at them for no reason, just because they were trying to help me or ask me how I was doing. It's my responsibility to get my shit together before I get mad at everyone else just because I don't know what's going on in my own head. Oh my god, I didn't even realize what time it was. I have to go. I am loving the weather recently, especially where I live. It's very bipolar. I love how green the grass is and how all the leaves are starting to bloom. A little bit about therapy. I have been going to therapy for 2 years. I started with a therapist in 2021 through my mom's work, so it was free. I'm very grateful for that opportunity, but there's only a certain amount of sessions that I could do with her. She sent me this link. It's called, I think it's called Psychologists Today. That's the link that I put in my bio, and I'll put it in the description box below also. I always have it linked there. I want to have my windows down, but it is really loud and I don't know if you can even hear me. Anyways, literally what that link did, I was able to search up therapists near me, and I just put my location and so many people came up, and they even have like this 15-second video introducing themselves, so I guess you can kind of get a feel of what they're like. As soon as I emailed them, they responded within like an hour. I got lucky. I just chose the therapist that I have now and I started emailing her, and we did a 15-minute consultation for free. Since then I've been with her for almost 2.5 years now, and she's great. I know that some people aren't very lucky with their therapists, and it is like trial and error, but I think in the end it's worth it because
the relationship that you build with your therapist is ultimately what's going to help you heal. The thing about healing, though, I feel like a lot of people tend to subconsciously make it their entire personality, and especially social media paints healing as something that you need to do in order to fix yourself, which is not the case, because you aren't something that needs to be fixed or something that is broken. Like I said, social media paints healing as there is an end goal that you need to reach, and that is to be better, which is partially true, but I think the goal is really to experience and not just live your life. Whatever it is that you are trying to heal from, it's not gonna change. The only thing that will change is how much of that trauma has an impact on you and how much it will hurt. It's always going to sting a little bit. That's not a bad thing. That just means you're human. Things like that are supposed to hurt. Honestly, it breaks my heart when people assume that to fully heal, it means to not feel whatever emotion that comes up when you do remember the trauma that happened. As humans, we literally get to experience every single emotion and every feeling, from grief to anger to happiness to lust. I think that's such a beautiful thing, but people tend to give unpleasant emotions like sadness and grief and hurt negative connotations, because yes, it does hurt, but it's not a bad thing. It's what we do with those emotions that give people the sense that those feelings are bad feelings. Sometimes it's good to be selfish with yourself, especially when you're trying to heal and you're trying to go through that process. Being selfish means you're putting yourself first. In most cases, that is ultimately what we want to do. By putting yourself first, it means you're taking the responsibility to work on being kind to yourself and being nicer to yourself before you put yourself out there. Okay, I will be right back. I'm gonna go to therapy. I'm just gonna share my thoughts after, because I always leave with a lot of thoughts. So yeah, be right back.
1 hour later.
I feel so good. Today's session really helped me remember why I go to therapy, and it just feels so good because I went in not having any plan whatsoever about what I wanted to talk about, because usually sometimes I go in and I'm like, okay, this happened and we need to talk about it. Today I kind of just let the conversation go in whatever direction and see what comes up. I saw this somewhere. It's like cleaning your room and you're organizing everything, putting things where they need to be, and then you find that one thing and you're like, oh my gosh, this is where the feelings were coming from. This is the root. It's a light bulb moment, and it feels good when you figure out where the emotions could have come from. And I just find it so cool how the more questions that she asked me and the way that it forced me to think about all the factors coming from different perspectives and not just internally, that made me step out of my own shoes and be present. I just love how whenever I leave therapy, I always get a sense of where everything was coming from. Every emotion that you feel, it's not random, but it feels good when I'm able to put words to whatever I'm experiencing or whatever thought process I'm having, because that's the way that I understand things, when I'm able to put words to it. You find out things about yourself that you don't really think about. I'm not a person who likes to cry in front of people. I'm working on it right now to try and have the mindset that crying doesn't make you weak, because it's true. If anything, it makes you stronger. And my definition of being someone who is strong is someone who is in touch with their own feelings. By crying and having those breakdowns, I think that just shows how strong you are, that you're able to handle such intense emotions and feelings like that. I'm just trying to make the point that therapy isn't just talking. It is talking, but there is a reason why that we do it. It is something very hard for me to do, to just drop everything, or if I'm feeling something and it's bothering me, to just say it. But we're humans, and that's how we're programmed. We're programmed to overthink everything, to think about any possible outcome. The more that I'm able to work on voicing what I'm thinking in an emotionally intelligent manner, I will be able to show up much more authentically in any of my relationships. Everyone is different. Everyone feels things differently. I'm always going to keep reminding myself of that. The way I react to something, someone else may react differently, or the way I view something, someone else may see it differently. I feel good. I feel good. Oh, it feels like summer. We are home, besties. Final thoughts. If you take the initiative to take that step and work on yourself and heal, there's always going to be moments where you get waves of grief and intense sadness or anger or whatever emotion you can think of. But that's part of healing. And I don't want you to think that you have to start all over again, because you're going to hear from everyone, healing isn't linear. The more that you remind yourself of that it's normal, however you're feeling, the easier it will be. Yeah, I hope someone feels a little more comfortable in starting therapy if they were thinking about it after this, or you've gained a little more insight on what my thoughts are on healing and taking it slowly and being a better person. I'm gonna go to work now, but you guys stay comfy and have a great day because it's so nice out. Love you guys. Bye.